All right, I just wanted to go over a few of the topics in the first assignment. So this is the review chapter 1A assignment. Make sure that to access Alex, you've linked your Weber State Canvas. So you'll do that. Make sure you've gone through the Alex link here at least once. And if you click on that, it will take you to the Alex. And make sure you've paired that. If you have more questions about pairing, I've put a video and then also some instructions from the internet. So our first assignment is, so the first thing you do once you get into Alex is you will have to do a knowledge check. And based on your knowledge check, if you know some of the information already, it'll give you credit. So I've gone through as a pretend student and I skipped the knowledge check, but I pretended like I was a in-between student. Like I knew some of the information. And just depending on how much you know, Alex will give you credit for that. So this student is starting out at 48% of their Pi progress done. So by the end of May, hopefully you'll have this at 100%. So some of the useful things in Alex is, I think the most useful button is this hamburger button. So if you click on that, then you can get to all of these things. So one that's helpful is if you go to your grade book, you can see your scores for your assignment. So this test student, when they did the knowledge check, they knew how to do all of the review chapter 1A, so they just got 100%. But I'll go back through and show you a few of these assignments. So this is the grade book. Once your score is in the grade book, it's going to stay. Sometimes when you do a knowledge check, it bumps your topics out of your learned bin, but if you got it done by the assignment deadline, then you'll get 100% on the assignment. So don't worry about a knowledge check. If it'll remove it from your Pi progress, but it won't remove it once you've completed it from your grade book assignment. Okay, so I'm going to go to assignments. This is another way to look at this. So the next assignment that I could work on is this chapter 1. And then I can see after chapter 1, then I'm going to get a knowledge check. So on any of these knowledge checks, you have to get through them. Don't worry about them too much. But you do need to get through them so that you can get to the next assignment. And that's especially true with the very first knowledge check. I know it's kind of annoying. We have a knowledge check, and then we have this review assignment, and then we have what we are actually going to try to learn in this chapter 1 assignment. Okay, so let's go to the review chapter 1 assignment and go over some of the topics. This is things that, this review chapter 1 assignment is things that Weber State thinks that would be helpful for you to know before you take this class. But it's not super important. Like this is not a math class. There's some math that we use, but we just need to get through that assignment so we can do this chapter 1 assignment. So I'm going to review because this test student knew all of the information already. And so if you go to the hamburger and go under review, you can pick which topics you want to review. So I'm going to go to this review chapter 1A. It's a really long assignment. Most of them should be pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, let me know and I can go over them in a video. But you just got to kind of plow through this. So we're going to go through a few that I think are a little bit tricky. So this first one that I'm going to look at is this introduction to the product rule of exponents. And these are just some basic math things that sometimes we forget the rules, and that's okay. The exponents one is something that I forget a lot. So if we have the same base, so the base is v, and we have different exponents, so we're just going to add the exponents if the base is being multiplied. So we have v to the 2, v to the 1, v to the 4. So this is just saying we have 2 v's times another v times another 4 v's. So we just add up this. We actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 v's, or we could add it. So 2 plus 1 plus 4. So we just put v to the 7. And we can do more practice. Again, you just have to get through them. This says no calculator, but really you're going to have your calculator on all of the assignments. So feel free to use your own calculator. We just got to get through this assignment. So we have y is our base, and then we have 4 plus 4 plus 1. So that's 8 plus 1 is 9, 10, 11. So hopefully we've got that math right. Oops. And I need that as an exponent. And you just check. Okay, so we just gotta kind of get through this review assignment. Okay, so that's the first one that I wanted to go over. Another one I wanted to go over was this with negative. So again, I have the hardest time remembering rules for exponents. Maybe those stick with you, but that's something that is confusing for me. So when I see a negative exponent, what I do is I put it in the denominator. So I have w, oops, let's not make it capitals, w, and then now it's on the bottom, so it's a 6, and we actually have 2 of those. Let's see, so let's add these together. So we have -6 and -2, that's 8, -8, and that's on the bottom. And then we have w to the 7 on the top. And then what I do is I subtract. So 7 minus 8. So that's going to be, the 8 is bigger, so there's going to end up being, if there's any left over, it'll be in the denominator on the bottom. So it looks like the 8 wins. So we're going to have 1 8 on the, or 1 w on the bottom. We don't need the exponent because we just have 1. And then there's no w's on the top, so we just write a 1 on the top. So let's do another one of those. That was a little bit confusing. Let's see. Another way we could think about this is we could just take this exponent and add it to this exponent. So -4 plus 9 gives us 5. So then we have the 5 on the top. If this ends up being a negative exponent, we'll put it on the bottom in the denominator with a fraction. Okay, so let's see. The next topic that I wanted to go over was this one. This one, I remember students, it's a little bit tricky. So let's look at this. So this one we have 2 to the 2, 4 to the 2, and then over here we have 8 to the 4. So we need to figure out a way to compare these. The easiest way to do that, so again, it says no calculator, we could just use our calculator. We just need to get through these. You'll always have your calculator on the test and the assignment. So you can use your calculator, no problem. Or you can think about it like this. We have 2 to the 2, 4 to the 2. We could break 8 into 2 and 4. So we would have, instead of writing 8, we could write 2 to the 4, 4 to the 4. This side would have the bigger exponent, so this side is going to be bigger. So this is less than 8 to the 4. And then this one, we have 2 to the 4, 2 to the 2, 2 to the 8. So remember, if we have the same base, 2 and 2, we're going to add our exponents. So 4 plus 2 is 6. So this side would really be 2 to the 6. This side is 2 to the 8. So 2 to the 8 is bigger because it has a bigger exponent, more 2's. 2 to the 8 is bigger than 2 to the 4 times 2 to the 2. And then the last one is kind of like the first one. This is 8 to the 2. And we have 2 to the 4 and 4 to the 2. So let's, instead of thinking about this as 8 to the 2, we can write this as 2 to the 2, 4 to the 2, and then this has a 2 to the 4, so this side has an exponent on the 2 that's bigger. Everything else is the same, so this first side would be bigger. And this is a little bit confusing to talk through, and I don't have a super great way of showing you on paper with this one. So if it would help you, it might help you to write it out on a paper to kind of see what's going on. The other thing that you can do is at the bottom, you can click on explanation, and then that will kind of walk you through it. So I think that Alex is pretty nice because if you're getting stuck, it has some help in there. Sometimes it's not as easy to follow. So if you ever have questions, please let me know. But that is something that is helpful, is that you can look through the explanation page. Okay, so I think we've gone through that one. We'll do one more. So this one is 2 to the 5, 2 to the 2. So we'd add these. This is 2 to the 7. So the first side is bigger than the second side. Oh, excuse me, other way. This side, 2 to the 10 is bigger than 2 to the 7. And we added these exponents because we have the same base. Again, you can use your calculator. All right, and then this one we would break into, we have factors of 10. And this is 10 to the 2. So this would be 2 to the 2, 5 to the 2. That's the same as this side. So on this side, they'd be equal. And then on the last one, we have the same thing. We have 2 to the 5, 5 to the 2. So let's look here. This would be 2 to the 10, 5 to the 10. So this side has bigger exponents for both of those numbers. Okay, let's keep going through some of these. Let's see, graphing a slope. So you just have to find the point on your graph. -5, 5, put a point. Sometimes the hardest part of this is figuring out how to do it in ALEKS. And then -2, so that means our slope has a point to the left. And then 2 is on the top, so we're going to go down 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Oops, that looks like it didn't put it where I wanted it. Up 2 over 1. And then I can put my little line there. And then check. Okay, so hopefully some of these are pretty straightforward for you. If not, feel free to ask me, especially on this one. We just need to get through this this kind of review assignment. It's not really chemistry. Let's see, division of a decimal by 1,000, or excuse me, by a power of 10. So this one's 1,000. If we're dividing, we move it to the left. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to have 0.0455 So then I took my decimal basically from here, 1, 2, 3, and I just move it the number of zeros in the factor of 10. Again, left for divide. I should be getting a smaller number if I'm dividing. I think you can do slope. If you do, I'm just gonna go over the ones that I think are the trickiest. If you think something else is tricky, please let me know. These are just the ones that I think are tricky. So we did that one. Finding the slope of the line. Okay, this one's a little bit tricky. You need, there's probably lots of ways to do this. You need an equation. So this equation is we take, I always think rise over run, y's over x's. So I pick one of the y values. I'm going to pick this one to be the first one. So I'm going to go -9, and then I'm going to subtract the second y. So y's go on the top, x's go on the bottom, and again, you can totally use your calculator. I know it says that you can't, but you definitely can. Okay, so I'm just kind of showing my work, and then I'll clean it up. So -9 minus a -3, that means I have two negatives. I'm actually going to add this. So -9 plus 3 is -6. So on the top, I'm going to have -6. Let's see if we can just delete all of this. -6 on the top, simplified. And then let's see, 8 minus a -4. Well, that ends up giving me, so 8 plus 4. Oh, well, that's 12. And it's positive, so our slope will end up being negative. And then we need to simplify this. So I can type that in my calculator, or I can say, oh, well, there's a 6 on the top, a 6 on the bottom. Let's divide that out. And let's put a 6. Oh, let's see. 12 divided by 6 is actually 2. So that would be our slope. And we can check it, make sure we got that. Oh, and it doesn't like how I put this. It wants the negative in the front. So watch out for that. ALEKS has some particular ways it likes things written. So watch out for that. The other thing that I wanted to point out is sometimes there's videos over here. I don't see any right here, but sometimes there will be a video explanation. So watch out for that. That's another good help. All right. Let's see. Signed fraction division. That looks like a calculator one. Okay, this one is just tedious, but I think you can do it. So you just put in how many of each. So let's see. So 77 would fit here. And then 79 would also fit here. And then 64 would fit here. 66 would fit here. Okay, so you just go through. It is tedious. Try to be careful so you don't have to redo this one. Yeah, we just practicing using these graphs in ALEKS. This is not a chemistry question, so just try to get through this assignment. Okay, let's see. Mean, you're going to use your calculator. So mean, remember, that's the same thing as average. So all you have to do is add up these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. Oh, they tell me there's 6. And I can even do this on my calculator. ALEKS calculator is nice for some of the things we do later. But sometimes it's just easier to use your own calculator that you're familiar with. So feel free to use your calculator, or did I miss one? Or the Alex calculator, if you want to get familiar with that. I think I typed in all the numbers. Okay, and then I just divide by, there's 6 numbers. And then it says round to the nearest tenth. So remember, that's the first decimal place. So 14.1. This number is bigger. Oh, this will also, we can copy paste this into here. We can do, let's see, I'll show you that. We can just say, okay, that's rounded up to 14.2. Remember, add up for the mean or the average. Add up all the numbers they give you, divide by the total number of numbers. Let's see, constructing a scatter plot. This is another just tedious one. You just got to do it. So we have, this is our x, this is our y. So we'd go 4, 8. Oh, let's see. Yeah, 4, 8. Just tedious. You can do it. Just tedious. 4, 8, 5, 6, 7, 1, 9, 13. Okay, and you get the idea there. You just go through and add in those ordered pairs. Create a scatter plot. Okay. Product rule of exponents. So we talked about this. Okay, so this one's just distributive. So we're doing, if it's on the outside, we're going to do 2 goes to the 6, 2 goes to the 2. So we would have 6 to the 2. That's 6 times 6, which is 36. Again, I am totally okay if you use your calculator. And then the 2 exponent also distributes to this 2, or the z, excuse me. So it's z to the 2. So if we think about what's happening here, this is like 6 to the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. So if it's outside the parentheses, we're actually distributing it. We're multiplying our exponents. So 2 times 1 is 2. 6 to the 2 is 36. Okay. And let's see, how are we doing? Again, there's 22 of these. Hopefully you can just kind of plow through these. If you need help, please let me know. You can ask your peers. You can ask our substitute. Classify slopes giving graphs. I don't remember this one. Okay, so hopefully you know slopes. This, if it's pointing to the right, it is positive. If it's pointing to the left, it's negative. If it's flat, it's 0, no slope. If it's straight up and down, that's an undefined slope. So just remember those. You can probably look those up on the internet also to help you remember those rules. Let's see. Okay, this one, we're just multiplying across. I think you can do that one. And then simplify. Introduction to the quotient rule for exponents. Okay, we talked a little bit about this. If we have a 6 on the top and a 2 on the bottom, and our base is the same, so our base is a here, then we're just going to take 6 and then minus the bottom number 2, so we'll have a to the 4. And then if for some reason our exponent is negative, we'll put that on the bottom of our fraction on the denominator. So let's see if we can get, okay, here's one. So this is like, there's no exponent, so it's a 1. So b to the 1 minus, excuse me, over b to the 4. So we'll do 1 minus 4. That'll give us a negative 3. Or you can think this is bigger, so it's going to end up being on the bottom. So no b's on the top anymore. B to the 3 on the bottom. Those exponent rules are harder for me to remember. Okay, integer, multiplication, and division, that's like calculator stuff. Or in your head stuff. Okay, let's look at these ones. These ones are just, we have to think about using math equations. So it says, last year Lucy biked N miles. Some of these are easier than other ones. Okay, so she biked N miles. This year she biked 509 miles. Using N, write an expression for the total number of miles she biked. So we're just saying like, okay, well, what if this was 10? She biked 10 miles last year, 509 miles this year. Well, how do we figure out the total miles? We just add that up, 509. So we just have to write that equation. Let's see if we can find one that's a little bit trickier. Isabel has a bookcase with 4 shelves. There are D books on each shelf. Write an expression for the total number of books. Well, if she has 4 and there's 4 on each, or excuse me, D on each, that's a multiplication. So we just write 4. Oh, we can put that times D. That will give us the total number of books. Let's see, is there any other ones? Yesterday she had this many baseball cards. Today she gave away 20. So giving away is a subtraction. Let's see if we can do another one. Last year Donna biked 536 miles. Okay, we did that one already. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. There's probably also a division 1 in there. If you have questions on this one, let me know. Let's see, equivalent fractions, simplifying. So that's just some math introduction. What's the exponents? Let's see. Okay, this one's so I think you can do that one. The 12, there's 2 12, so 12 times 12 is 144. You can use your calculator. This isn't going to be on a test or anything, so please just try to get through all of the topics so that you can start on the chemistry assignment. And then writing expressions using exponents. Okay, let's look at this one. This one we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eighths. So we can say, oh, that's 8. That's like our shorthand. That's what an exponent means, 8, 5 eighths. Okay, so I think we've gone over the ones that I think are the most tricky, and there are some that are just tedious. So please feel free to let me know if you have any questions, and try to get through those as fast as you can so you can go ahead and do the chapter 1 assignment. That will have a test, so that one is much more important than this review assignment.